بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Today I have another reaction video. In this reaction video, I am going to be reacting to I read the Quran to find a devil and shocked. Don't skip the video. Yeah, we will not skip. We'll just continue watching to the end. And please don't skip this video. This video is amazing. It's coming from brother Paul perspective. May Allah protect him and keep him steady fast on the deen. And brothers and sisters, let's get to this video and see his revert story. Let's get to it.
Said no worries, I'm gonna check it out and I'm gonna find the devil in your book. And because I have those eyes to see, I'm gonna read the Quran and dismantle it. I am a Christian Orthodox in fact. My parents are from the Balkans, from northern Macedonia, and I have been baptized as a Christian Orthodox from birth. So therefore all of my family members are identified as Christian Orthodox. However, most of them are not practicing. People became very secularized and therefore they're not truly practicing Christians in that sense. Me, as a Macedonian, I grew up hating the Albanians because the Albanians were our enemy. Of course, there is this big history on the Balkan that we were under the Caliphate, under Ottoman rule, over 500 years. That fuels even more anger against Islam, against Muslims. So I grew up like that. However, I grew up in Germany, in North Rhine-Westphalia. In North Rhine-Westphalia, we have a huge Turkish population. So I had a lot of Muslim friends, but at the same time, I observed that most of those Muslim friends got into some sort of criminal activity at the time. So my experience with Muslims was pretty negative after all, I have to say. Therefore, I had no interest whatsoever to look into Islam. I was identified as a Christian, and that's that. In my 20s, I kind of let go of my faith. I started using psychedelic drugs such as mushrooms, LSD, ayahuasca. I explored dietary venues such as veganism, which led me to Buddhism, Hinduism, and other pagan religions as well, if you will. I was just a hobby, just doing my thing. I didn't want to label myself. I just wanted to live life. So I started traveling the world. I left Germany and I went to Australia, then Indonesia, then Thailand, then back to Australia and New Zealand, over to South America, Machu Picchu in Peru, and whatnot. I visited many places, many different cultures, saw different religions, and was convinced that religion is just that. And I don't want to be part of that. I saw myself as above that, in a sense. Until I returned back to Europe, to Bulgaria, and I felt that yearning for God. And I felt empty. I felt broken. All of those things that I tried led me nowhere. I felt as if I had failed. I felt abandoned. I felt left alone. So therefore I seeked God. Naturally, I returned to Christian Orthodoxy. And at that time, it felt like a homecoming, but at the same time have never truly explored. As I said, I was identified as a Christian Orthodox, but I never really studied the religion. And now I really want to know what's up. I really want to understand my own religion. So I started digging deep and I found out about the Trinity. Guys, for 2 years I was battling with this thought and I was trying to understand the Trinity. And I was trying to make myself believe the Trinity, but after all of those intentions have failed miserably because I couldn't convince myself of a three-headed God. It didn't make sense for me. Therefore, I was quite surprised, honestly, quite shocked that my religion entailed that. This was a wake-up call for me because I was seeking God in its unity, in its oneness, if you will. I always remind myself of the saying, your God is not a God of confusion. So it was very confusing to me, after all.
It is.
Hence, for the very first time in my life, I considered, you know what? I'm gonna read the enemy's book, the Quran. Why not? Because I started watching David Wood videos. And David Wood was so confident in his message that Muhammad was this degenerate guy and Islam was this evil, evil religion coming from Satan himself. The real Antichrist is Islam. So I got convinced even more about my own faith.
Yeah,
I became
David Wood
arrogant,
does his
pompous.
job.
I said, God brought me back to Orthodoxy, the real religion. He brought me back to the truth. And now I can truly see that Islam is from the devil. And because I have those eyes to see, I'm going to read the Quran and dismantle it. Many Muslims during that time reached out to me via YouTube. Many followers of mine are Muslim and said, hey, give it a shot. I said, no worries. I'm going to check it out and I'm going to find the devil in your book. So I opened the Quran and I started reading. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the merciful. That was surprising to me. It really was. I didn't remember a page in the Bible that addresses God like that first.
Never anyway.
I kept on reading and I noticed that every surah, every chapter starts like that. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the merciful. And I was impressed. I thought, yeah, that makes sense. You should address God first. You should give praise to the Lord first before you start talking about Him. It makes sense. Now, I don't want to discredit the Bible, because the Bible is very, very different than the Quran. The Bible is more like a library and not so much like one book. The Quran, on the other hand, is exactly that. The Quran is one concise book, one menu, if you will, much shorter than the Bible. But nevertheless, the message is crystal clear. By reading the Quran itself, it doesn't posture up or pose as something else. It simply says what it is. It comes as a guidance. It comes as a clarification. So devote yourself to the religion of monotheism. The natural instinct Allah, God, has instilled in mankind. It rings true to me. It makes sense that we have a natural disposition in which we seek God. The oneness of God was crystal clear to us. We didn't think about other deities. We didn't think about a three-headed God system. I do not believe in the Trinity yet again. Even as a Christian, that doesn't add up to me. That doesn't make sense. Therefore, when this natural predisposition is described within the Quran, it resonates with me and it makes sense. When you're praying to God, how do you imagine God? How do you think of God? How do you remember God? How do you even believe in God? In a God that is three-headed, in a God that consists of three deities. That doesn't add up to me. Anyways, I continued reading. Whoever strives only for himself. Allah, God, is independent of the being. Powerful, man, powerful. God is beyond all beings. He is not the creation. For me, naturally, instinctively, that is crystal clear. God Himself is beyond all comprehension. God Himself is beyond all beings. He is indeed the only reality. This is the way that I saw God, that I experienced God to this very day. That is crystal clear to me. And when I saw it in the Quran, I was shocked. Yes, I was shocked. Because Islam for me was a violent religion. A religion of the enemy, a religion of the devil, not a religion of the oneness of God. Another powerful message yet again is, it is Allah's pattern, ongoing since the past. You will never find any change in Allah's pattern. That sentence really struck home. God's way is always the same. There is no change in the way, in the pattern of God. It is always the same, always accessible the same way. And that, of course, made me think a lot about my own faith and about Christianity. Thinking about the sacrifice of Jesus for us, Him being crucified so our sins can be forgiven, made me truly think about the people before Him and people that didn't hear the message, etc., etc. out of a sudden, I realized that there must be a red line, a clear underlying reality that is always the same. Meaning that if you're alone in the jungle and you never heard about any type of religion, there must be this natural religion that is instilled within you. This understanding of the worship of one supreme being. So now I've been rambling for quite some time and I still didn't clarify if I found the devil within the Quran. Guys, needless to say, I obviously didn't find the devil within the Quran, but I found many warnings about the devil. The Quran warns multiple times about the devil. It clarifies how sneaky the devil is. It warns you of the devil and it glorifies God over and over and over again. Honestly, I tried to find the devil in the detail, but I failed. I couldn't find the devil
Yeah.
within that scripture, no matter how hard I looked. Now, looking back, I really wonder where David Wood is getting his information from. I couldn't find the maliciousness, the perversion within the Quran. I found a concise, clear message within it.
MashaAllah. Bobby.
This is
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. We're ready for this?
more than ready.
Allah
Allahu Akbar.
Akbar.
Arabic first or English first?
Let's do the Arabic first.
I like it. Brave.
I'll try.
Ashhadu
Ashhadu
an
an
la
la
ilaha
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 illallah.
illallah
wa ashhadu
Wa ashhadu
wa ashhadu
anna
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 Muhammada
Muhammadan
abduhu
abduhu
wa
wa
rasuluhu.
rasuluhu.
wa rasuluhu.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
MashaAllah.
Allahu Akbar. You're a Muslim. As
Looks
a
like he
Muslim,
became Muslim today,
Allah is
but
with
that
you.
was a
Allahu
long
Akbar.
time ago. Yeah, brothers and sisters, Brother Bobby River's story is eye-opening. And David Wood is a terrible liar. So if he doesn't provide anything or evidence from whatever he was saying, he's just a miserable liar. So because mostly Christians who don't want seek knowledge, they reference like a David Wood as he is like a man of truth. Yeah, David Wood and some others are just to keep people misguided forever. That's what they do. So if somebody is seeking the truth, there's a lot of questions that he asks himself. Who is Matthew? Luke? These people who wrote the Bible and add everything into the Bible, who are they? Have they ever seen Jesus? No. The Gospel of Mark, the Gospel of Matthew, the Gospel of John, the Gospel of this. Why there is no Gospel of Jesus? Where is Jesus? Did the Bible came? Is the Bible revelation of God came to Matthew or came to Luke? In this situation, where's the stand of Jesus? Yeah, some of you guys might say, "Oh, Jesus was a God. He was a man. He was just all that nonsense thing that people are, saying all over the place." How can I be a God and then at the same time a man? Is there anything like that in this world? Who was the God for Moses and those other people who are before Jesus? Did they had a separate God? Did they had Jesus? Three gods at the same, fully man, fully God, all of this stuff. Did they really know? No. So all this stuff came from Matthew, Luke, and these people who have no idea what religion is. Yeah, some people might say, oh, Matthew saw Jesus and he was a companion, he was a friend of Jesus. I don't think. It's a minimum of 2,000 years in between these people. People who wrote Bible and now Gospel of Matthew, Gospel of Jesus. There is no Gospel of Jesus at all. So in this time, where is Jesus? So brothers and sisters, it's just a mystery to understand. So brothers and sisters, Brother Bobby explained everything in details. And I think that's enough explanation. And I have to end this video. And I will see you in the next video. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.